Well, I know it's been a while since the last video, but we've had a lot of rain. I've had trouble getting in and out of properties, and so I haven't been hunting as much. This property landowner called. Hogs had hit him the previous night. He'd run a harrow over the field to mat down some of the rooting, and I showed up, and storms were headed in. I got a nice call from the landowner saying, hey, if the storms get too bad, we've got a storm shelter. Just come inside the house. I've got some of the greatest landowners in the world. Well, I'm sitting out on the property, and I've got the InfiRay Finder on top of the truck from Tech Savvy Optics, scanning the entire property. I've got a nice vantage point. I like hilltops on properties that don't have a lot of woods because I can see in all directions, looking for hogs and whatnot. And what you saw on the first pass was a Great Pyrenees over by the water tank, and the Great Pyrenees is now gone. Well, carpe sus. Well, the hogs did show up about 500 yards across the property. And this is me starting my stalk. The hogs are at 495 yards, according to the Bearing Optics Super Yoder LRF. And here I am making the approach on the hogs. I've only shot hogs on this property one time previously. And even the deer, as you can see, are starting to take notice of the hogs. This is quite the sounder. They keep pouring in from the other property. Looks like we've got them divided into two groups, a near group and far group. And as usual, I'm going to be shooting my TX-15 multi-purpose carbine from Lone Star Armory. And I'm going to be shooting some Federal TNT 90 grain bullets loaded by Grendel Armory and Starline Brass. Now my goal is to try to get a better position on the hogs, but this one hog is going to come out. It's going to get a little too close. It's taking notice of me, which I don't like. So I decide that I should go ahead and shoot it. Pop another one there. And the hogs make it off in a direction that I have not cleared for firing further. So that's going to be on the hogs. Get them loaded up. Move them over to the dead pile area of the property.
Brass Catcher by Tactical Brass Recovery.
And I came away with two sows, 150 pounds and 125 pounds, neither of which were pregnant. Eventually we had a break in the rain for a couple of days, and I got a chance to go to the range and sight in some Sierra Game King bullets loaded by Grendel Armory and Starline Brass, coming in at about 2,546 feet per second on average. From the range, I immediately headed over to a landowner's property where she was having rooting in her front yard, not just in the pasture, but in her front yard, and she was not pleased about it at all. So I got set up to wait, and eventually a hog did show up, and he's out there at about 225 yards. I'm not in any hurry. I think he's going to be coming my direction, so I'm just going to camp out and see what he does. Getting zoomed in. I could shoot from this distance, but let's see what develops. Sure enough, he's working his way towards her yard. He's sniffing the air. I think he's doing a security checks, but in fact, he has something else in mind. I thought this was rather interesting. I've got it sped up here just to get him to the point of where it's going to happen. And I have not seen a hog do this previously. He's searching for something, and sure enough, he finds it, and whatever it is, he starts tossing around. It looks like he's just rooting, but there's more to it than that. Watch what happens. It's like he's chasing a ball around. And eventually he picks up whatever it is and he starts shaking it around. I have no idea what this was, and I did not go and look for it afterwards. At this point, he's out there at about 200 yards, and I'm not in a hurry to shoot him simply because he's moving around so much. I would like him to be a little bit more steady for a shot at this distance. That might have been a good opportunity right there, and I didn't take it. However, I must admit my patience is getting a little thin. He slows down, and boom, hog down. This boar came in at 180 pounds, and he did it for that night. 2 nights later, after another rainfall, got a call from a landowner with fresh hog rooting and fresh hog tracks. Definitely hog activity. So I'm back out watching this area for a while, and nothing shows up except for a coyote. And the coyote's down at 130 yards. The coyote turned out to be a male, and no hogs were seen that night, but I got a call from the landowner a few days later saying that the hogs were at it again. That patch of rooting I set up and was watching, doing my scans, when I noticed hogs in another pasture about 800 yards away up a hill. And here I'm getting a range on them. I can't get the range on the hogs themselves, so I picked the tree that they're underneath, and it's out there at about 270 yards. Between the hogs being silhouetted across the horizon and shooting over a hill, and the distance being further than I would like, I'm going to continue to move up. Still having the same problem here. Now, during the course of events of this video, one of my landowners in this area reported a total of about 12 inches of rain. I think he said it was 12.5 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain for the time period, and all these fields are still soggy. Even up here on the hillside, which I would expect to be well drained, I'm running into muddy patches. I think there's seeps on the property, stuff that you don't necessarily want to be driving through without walking through it first. The hogs haven't taken notice of me, and fortunately the northern wind hasn't been too much of a problem, despite the fact that I was coming out of the north. And here I've angled off to the side so that the winds aren't blowing directly towards the hogs, which is good. Once again, I'm ranging the tree instead of the hogs because it's easier to range the tree than the hogs themselves. And now we're at about a reasonable shooting distance. But the angle wasn't good, so I've changed my angle here slightly. Trying to assess who's in the sounder, which ones are males, which ones are females. I've got a nice female in the front. At this point, I'm just biding my time, waiting to pick a target. No cattle seen off to the left. Getting squared away on the shooting sticks. Going to start with the female in front. Here we go. She goes down. She goes down. 2 quick shots, too quick to hit. I settle it properly and drop that one. And that sounded like a hit, but I think that was in the ground. And the hogs are getting into where a bull was earlier, so I don't shoot at them. I come away with 3 hogs. The first one shot is a black one in the middle, was a sow coming in at 150 pounds with 3 on board. The second one was a 190-pound sow with 7 on board. And the last hog shot was a 100-pound boar. Well, the rains have been holding off and the fields are drying out, and Ben and I will be back at it tonight, and hopefully we'll get some good necropsy information on the Sierra Game King ammunition that I've been trying out. So far I've been really impressed with its results. I have done some cursory necropsy work, but nothing that's photography ready, so hopefully we'll get some better images tonight. Carpe sus, my friend.